You're allowed.
I already do.
This is Tilted Podcast.
Oh my God. We are here again for another week. The Raiders fucking suck. Jesus Christ. I think the Raiders lost everybody money this week. I think anybody that bet money this week in the world of betting lost money because of the Raiders. Andy Dalton is a sorry son of a gun. God damn, that hair looks good, doesn't it?
And you wonder why the Raiders are always the topic, Brad, because this is what you guys like to lead with.
I didn't lead with this shit.
Well, I had to lead with it because they knocked me out of my survivor pool and somebody won money that pissed me off. And it's just, God dang, they were supposed to be an easy win for me.
Your best friend cashed in on that, Brad.
I got a lot of best friends in this world.
Your wannabe best friend.
Shady days, shady days, shady days.
Besides that, it was a good week for a lot of teams, a good week for a lot of players. But once again, I'm Tyler. This is Anthony, old Raider guy. Brad, we don't talk about his Dolphins. They're really sad right now.
No, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah,
I wasn't here last week. We have to talk about it.
Well, let's jump into that a little bit first before we go down the rabbit trail of the Raiders, the Niners, and the Bengals. I don't know, man. I really feel Miami was really ready to go this year and be a solid team, but only scoring 33 total points in 3 games is, I mean, obviously no starting quarterback changes the dynamic of your team by miles. But I kind of laugh at it because everybody, sits here and shits all over Brock Purdy about how he's only good because of his weapons. Miami has plenty of weapons, but they don't got their starting quarterback.
But they traditionally they suck up front, and that's been their issue. And it just comes to the forefront, right? When they played Buffalo just out schemed them, right? I mean, they didn't have to do too much. There's just something there. So I don't know. I got a lot of feelings about it. Our defense is not performing the way I expected. We got a lot of injuries, but that doesn't really matter. Guys need to step up. I wasn't here. I wasn't here last week. I really feel like Tua should just walk away. I know it's already, it's already announced that he's going to come back. Which, you look at it. I look at it both ways. I would like to see him walk away. Right? He's got 2 young daughters and beautiful wife and enough money to do whatever the flipping one, right? I mean, just go away. But then as a Dolphins fan, I watched last week and I'm like, good Lord. People were questioning if we should give him the freaking contract. It's pretty obvious we need Tua. Or we need somebody. And Tua seems to be the guy right now, right? We give him the contract. So, I hope he can come back healthy. I'm concerned about it. He lost the weight this year to be able to move a little bit. And unfortunately for him, he moved a little bit and
a little too much.
And honestly, when you look at the hit, it's nothing that, from an overall football standpoint, from the hit you normally see, it doesn't look like something that should have done the impact that it did. But it did, and there's something wrong with him up top. Structurally, there's something off, right? That allows him to get concussed pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But it worries me for him. For the Dolphins this year, right? It appears we're going to be turning to Huntley. Don't know how that helps, our weapons, but I think it's better than what we have right now.
That's what I was going to ask you, Brad. Like, so is that, what do you think the path forward is? I think we all collectively would think it's best for Tua to walk away. And then that puts you guys immediately in the quarterback sweepstakes of next year's draft and free agency. But you have 15 more weeks.
Yeah.
or 1-2 doesn't mean you're out of it by any stretch. Like, what is the path forward? Is it Snoop Huntley? That's what they call it. He goes by Snoop, right?
Yeah.
Snoop Hunt. I mean, he played well for Baltimore, and I think led him to the playoffs at one point, or almost to the playoffs. Like, he's not bad. I just don't know what the path forward looks like, and I don't know what that means for like a fantasy perspective for like a Jalen Waddle or a Tyreek Hill.
I think I'm wondering the same thing as you, to be honest.
Yeah.
Baltimore's offense completely different, than what we are. McDaniel's looked at as one of the offensive gurus in the NFL. We're about to find out. Because last week it didn't appear that way, and something's going to have to change.
You can be a guru. We talked about it, but if that offensive line is not there, it don't matter how good your scheming is. It's just going to fall apart.
He's going to have to find a way to get the ball out. I see a big move. Right? We already throw a lot of screens, a lot more screens. I honestly don't know. I'm perplexed. I'm most perplexed with our defense. Buffalo just came in, and obviously Allen looks, to be doing that to everybody, but good Lord, I had higher expectations. So enough with the Dolphins.
Well, I guess
they're not good enough to be. They're not good enough to be worth us talking about them for that long right now.
I'll say this. This is my thought on it. Like, I like McDaniel, and I remember texting you when they hired McDaniel, and you being pretty jazzed about it. I think when you think about what's going on in Green Bay right now, the fact that they were able to take Malik Willis only being there for like a week or two, completely transform that offense to work around him, and now they're on like a 2-game winning streak with Malik Willis and Jordan Love being out. I guess if they can get Huntley in there, we'll see what McDaniel could do. Because if he can't adapt his offense with the weapons you guys have, that might be a bad look for him moving forward. Because what LaFleur's doing in Green Bay, he deserves a ton of credit. I mean, they got Malik Willis been with the Green Bay Packers for 2 weeks, and he's in there, and they completely reworked the offense around him. And like, hats off to LaFleur. Let's see if McDaniel can do it.
I think he'll be on the hot seat. I do.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm going to flip it a little bit, going from a quarterback problem in Miami to a quarterback gold strike in Washington. Jayden Daniels is the man we thought Jayden Daniels was. Man, that kid is playing his butt off. And he's doing what most rookies don't do is he's not throwing turnovers. He's not throwing picks. He's not fumbling the ball. He's giving that Washington team an opportunity. I mean, I know Cincinnati's a little rough on the edge right now. Their defense is pretty atrocious, as we talked about, which we'll get to them more. But I just think this kid looks like he's going to be in the league for a long time, and he's going to play well. It was weird. I don't know if when you watch that game, he almost started to like really settle in. Like, you could see the change every possession, just being more confident and then the throws just got better throughout the whole game. They just got better. And then that last one at the end of the game, I was like, wow, where did that guy come from?
The confidence was like through the roof. And when it got to, I think it was like 4th and 5 with about 4 or 5 minutes to go, and he was signaling to the sideline, like, let's go, we're going, we need to go, we need to end it. Like, that's not confidence you see from a rookie. But I do feel like it is a huge – when you think about rookie quarterbacks, it's all about the position they're put in. And I said it to several people. Like, I think Caleb Williams is going to be the best quarterback out of this draft class. But I do think it's going to take a year or two because they're going to fire that coach in Chicago. And then they're going to hire someone with an offensive mind. And when you got Cliff Kingsbury calling your plays and running your offense in Washington, you're set up for success. Whereas I don't think that's the case in Chicago for Caleb. I think it's going to take a year or two. He's going to be baptized in the NFL by fire this year, and then he'll get an offensive coach next year, and things are going to start settling in. But I think Jayden Daniels is in a great spot. He has good weapons, and I think he's doing really well.
Yeah, big fan. Brad, you got anything on him or?
Oh, I love Jayden. I mean, I've got him right as my my rookie of the year. I don't know, Anthony. I think Caleb's going to be good, but I wouldn't downplay the way Jayden looks so far.
Oh no, I'm really not trying to downplay it.
No, I know, but as far as being the best one out of the draft, it'll be it'll be something good to look back, right? Like not only just a couple years, but 10, 15 years when they're done to kind of look back and see because they're both dynamic in their own way. Because I love watching Caleb, I do. It's fun to
Yeah.
watch. It's plays when things get off task, right? When things are not happening, that's when he does stuff. But man, Jaden he just looks different. I don't know. There's something about
Yeah.
him, but
Trust me, I think they're both going to be really good. When you compare the two right
Yeah.
now, 3 weeks into their career, it's like you can tell which one has a better like not pieces because they have Ruma Dunze and Keenan Allen and all. It's not about that. It's about offensive coach who's being prepared offensively, who can really who has a coaching staff that can bring out the best in the quarterback. Like that's obviously Jane Daniels, Cliff Kingsbury. At one point was supposed to be the Raiders OC, and then they couldn't work out the contract. And this is exactly what I fear that this would happen. And he's doing just as well as I thought he would.
it all circles back to the Raiders.
Always does.
He really was. It was
The
even worse.
Raiders.
I won't let it go back. We're going to flip over to Carolina and have a conversation about Bryce Young. Tom Brady, which, awesome to see Tom Brady staying with football, which he will probably for his rest of his life. He came out and said something that was beyond the words true and was proven true with Carolina this last weekend. It's a tragedy when these organizations are just so gosh damn bad. They bring in a young, very talented quarterback, and he's put into the worst situation possible. I think we can name them on the list of top 5 picks that should not have been starting quarterbacks right away because they needed time to develop. You think about David Carr as being a prime example back in, with the Texans, an awful team to have to come in. And he was a pretty solid quarterback. But Tom Brady said it. He's like, Andy Dalton was going to be successful. The guy's been in the league for like 9-10 years. Like he knows how to quarterback. He's a veteran. He's not scared to get in there. He's done this multiple times as a backup now. Like it's not hard for him to step in and play ball and read defenses. Bryce Young has literally been failed by his own organization. My question to you two is Bryce Young done in the NFL as a starter anywhere?
Go ahead.
I think he gets a second shot.
Do you think it's with Carolina though?
No.
See, that's what I agree with you there. I don't think he stays in Carolina.
I think he's going to get. They're going to have to trade him. Something's going to have to happen, and it's for both of them. They handled it wrong. And I mean, I don't know if you saw like the other day, even after they won, right? He still was standing at the outside of the field. Did you see the video? He still stood and literally high-fived every one of the teammates like he's still the leader of the team and he's still being who he is. He's a great kid.
He was the captain on Sunday.
Yeah, and it's just
coin toss.
It's just frustrating to watch because what Tyler said is what's happening, right? I mean, these organizations are grasping at straws and you don't have the best 32 quarterbacks in the league playing. That's clear, right? We play these young kids, and I mean, it's true when you see a guy like Sam Darnold get a chance, right? Just like you said, Dalton, right? So it's you see those kind of guys that are able to come from a reserve spot from another team, and they obviously show it. So I hope Bryce gets another chance. I think he deserves another chance. Hell. I heard one option that I don't know who said it, and I kind of agreed with it for what's going on right now. I think it was a 3-team trade. I think it was Stafford to the Dolphins, Bryce Young to the Rams, and the Panthers get like a second and a third and
I see
something like that. Something like that. I don't know, right? And you kind of look at it and it's like, well, are the Rams really going to do it this year? Can you imagine him with McVay? Kind of makes sense. I mean, I don't know. Stafford
him with McVay would
be
give him the best shot.
It would give him a shot if he could end up with somebody like that. That's kind of where I'm leaning. If he could end up with somebody like Mike McDaniel, but right, I would love to have Stafford as a Dolphins fan, but I just hope he gets a chance.
Yeah, the Rams are in a weird situation with their 2 stars being out, and yeah, they beat the Niners, and we can have that we're going to have that conversation, but there was a lot of faults there. But that interdivision game is always a different world. We've always talked about it. It's just a different kind of game. It's not your normal game. It's these coaches know so much about each other. They know the tricks up the sleeves, and then they're literally conjuring and creating new tricks to try to outsmart the coach they play twice a year, if not 3 times, because they catch them in the playoffs every time. But speaking on that, since we're going down that route, I guess we'll just start off with the 49ers and this lovely image of the Niners, Raiders, and Cincinnati Bengals burning to death, it seems like. I really don't think that this is the Niners' downfall. I know they're 1-2. I think it's I would say it's a two-faced coin. The Niners are a very good team that just defensively don't know what's going on. I think they need to get back to the basics. We're not getting to the quarterback. You can't let Stafford have hope or a chance. Special teams was beyond the word atrocious. Like fake punt for 9 yards for a first down, or 7 yards, I believe it was, or 5 yards. A punt return for 30 yards to win a game winning or 2-score, I would say game winning field goal with like a minute 40 left, and you miss it 55. It's not an easy field goal. I get it, but you're getting paid how many millions to make these? You got to make those. 55 is not the norm, but come on.
Well, it is the norm. I mean, that's an average kick in the NFL these days.
Now, yeah, it is.
But I think for me, it's like there's so many injuries on the offensive side of the ball. The biggest question mark for me is the defense. I said it to you in a text, well, I'm pretty sure the defense could have stopped him, right? But
yeah,
I don't think there's any shame in losing to Matt Stafford and Sean McVay. That dude's coaching his ass off there, and that's always going to be a well-prepared team, whether they have 100 NFL starts or 1 NFL start. I think those games are always tough. I think you guys get back on track this week. But I do think this is showing that Purdy can do it without everybody, and I think a lot of it has to fall on the defense. So
yeah, that kid looked good, man.
It's not
good.
Not all is lost, man. It's still super early. You have 15 more, or I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's 14 more games to go, and yeah, you do have a rough stretch coming up though.
Yeah, they got to get through. Hopefully, this would be a real level out game where they go play New England. If they lose to New England, I may not be on this podcast next week. So you can just create some image.
Oh, you better. I'm here today.
I'm going to wear. I promise you, I will make it an agreement now. If they lose to New England, I will wear a bag over my head with holes on it that says the 49ers suck, and I have no problem wearing it that whole podcast. But
what do you think their problem is, Brad?
I don't know. It's perplexing to me to watch them because their defense is ridiculous.
At times,
they're injured, right? But I can't figure it out myself when I watch. I can't figure out last week. They were up, right? When I was able to tune in, right? You guys know I'm coaching baseball. Also, when I was able to get locked in on that game, they were up. I think it was by 10. And I know Horton's going to know exactly the scenario. Maybe it was 7. But I thought they had the game won. It was 10. Okay. So I thought they had the game won. For some reason, them and the Rams, though, it's all the time. Something's just weird with them. It seems like every year that I think the Niners are just going to roll them. The Rams seem to give them fits. I'm interested to see this week because the number is big, and I know they're at home, and I know the Patriots suck, and they got blown out last week, but that number's still big. So, right, I think we're sitting at double digits. I think we're going to see who we normally see this week. I think it's all going to come to play. They're obviously struggling, right? CMC's out. That is the biggest impact. You guys talked about it last week. I wasn't here. That it's a huge impact, right? Mason is helping, and he's suffice to say for a backup, right? I mean, and they were able to do good things with him. I mean, Shanahan's a genius, but he's not CMC. And you've got Debo out, and Kittle's coming back this week, but he doesn't look really like Kittle of old. So it's a little shaky right now. That's what I would say, but I still think they're one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the NFC for sure.
I think so too. And I personally think this is their preseason. They did not play together And I said this to you before the Jets game. I remember talking to you on the phone before Monday Night Football, and I'm like, I think this game is going to be a little bit closer. Now, granted, I might have given the Jets a little too much credit with Aaron Rodgers' first game back, but I said, you guys have had, what, like 4 practices together as your whole team? Like, so I think this is your opportunity. You've had 3 games. CMC's out. It is what it is. You got a tough stretch coming up. But at the same breath, it's like, I think we sit here on Halloween and the Niners are back to being the Niners. That's just my guess. But the team I want to ask you about, since we're on the Niners, where's our head at on the Cardinals? I feel like they're 1-2. They've played 2 really good teams, very tough, 1-score games against the Bills and the Lions, and beat the brakes off the Rams. Like, did we all sleep on the Cardinals this year? Like, I think they have a chance to be really good. They're probably one of the best 1-2 teams out there.
You know what? It's funny because I look at the Cardinals, and once again, quarterbacks change games, man. Like, a Lamar Jackson can go to any team in the NFL, and he's just a game with his legs. He's a game changer. He can move in the pocket. The pocket's open everywhere. He can go wherever he wants because his agility and his speed. So I think having Kyler Murray, he's just a stud guy. He's not very tall. He's not the fast, the biggest dude, but his speed is what helps him. And I mean, come on, like Harrison Jr., we all knew who he was. He just needed a week or two to kind of come around. I don't know. I like him. I
think that coach is really good. He was the defensive coordinator on Philly when they went to the Super Bowl against Kansas City. Jonathan Gannon. I think here in a couple weeks, if we revisit our playoff picks and maybe do power rankings or something like that, which we could talk about, like, I think the Cardinals are probably one of the best 1-2 teams out there. I don't know, Brad. What do you think?
I think in the beginning of the year, I kind of went through everybody's schedule. I think I had them like 8-9 or 9-8, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be decent, right? I mean, Harrison is definitely him. I mean, he is who we thought, and Kyler is Kyler, and their defense is you just never know. It seems like their defense is. I don't watch enough of their games, but it feels to me like when they're playing well, they're like huge turnover games and big things happening, but then they just fall off. So I'm not sold fully on them yet, but I do think they've improved. And they gotta get Trey McBride healthy again, because that doesn't look good. I don't know, man. I'm still kind of worried about CMC. I don't want to talk about it no more. I know we're on to the Cardinals, but this thing keeps coming back up, and that's what I talked about when he originally went out. So that's my concern for Tyler on that whole thing. But the Cardinals, I do think, look better, but
CMC's injury is starting to glow a little more heavier than I think people realize. I think it's a lot more hurt. I think he's a lot more hurt than people realize.
I think
CMC is going to be out for 8 total weeks. I think he'll be out for about 8 weeks.
All right, let's move forward, because I think it's longer.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe he does take the year off. Maybe it's a freaking tear that nobody wants to say it's a tear. But, like you said, Mason looks good enough. They abandoned the run for some reason against a very bad Rams rush defense. And they just abandoned it. And Kyle Shanahan, Anthony, I'll call you and you hear me yell. This fucking Kyle Shanahan guy does some weird he tries to be too fucking cute. Just play old school football.
I got him out track again. My bad, man.
Oh, it's all good.
As soon as I said, oh, shit.
Just as frustrating, because you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I'm just mad, though, because me and Anthony talked about him not being injured. And he's like, it's coming. It's coming.
Oh, it's coming for sure.
I just had a feeling. We talked about it all summer long, did we not, Brad?
It's
about when in one of our fantasy leagues, Rob was considering trading him, and you were offering me first round picks for him, and I'm like, I just don't know. I don't want to be too late on him. I just felt like the injury was coming. I just felt it in my gut all offseason.
And I felt it enough that I didn't want to give too much. It's weird thing, man, because he's so dynamic. But hey, is Baltimore back?
No.
It appeared that what I would tell you is it appears they finally started to figure out how to use Derrick Henry. Obviously, traditionally, right, he's received the ball from a quarterback under center, right? And Lamar does not like being under center. So they're still adjusting there. But, I mean, right, Dallas tried to, wanted him in the free agency. And I think he kind of let him know the other day that, obviously they made a mistake. I think that game was big for the Ravens. I am excited to see this week against the Bills. That's going to be a hell of a game. I feel like Lamar and him started to figure out how to use that big boy in the backfield.
Dallas's rush defense or Dallas's rush offense is atrocious. They can't run the ball for nothing. It's literally Dak Prescott. And that game was 28-25. If they had I don't think the Ravens, it's all Lamar. You remove Lamar, that team is not there. It's just completely gone.
I think they're starting to figure it out. Henry went for 25 carries, 151 yards, 2 tutties. That's how they got out with the lead.
Here's my take on the Ravens. And you missed this last week. I shared a little bit about this. Like, when I was in Baltimore, all they talked about was that O-line.
But they didn't do the rotation this last week. They started to change that.
But you're right. But now they're going to be without Tyler Lindenbaum, which is their tackle. They're as of Wednesday's practice, they're down 3 starting offensive linemen.
Yeah.
And that Bills defense is quick. And the Cowboys defense just seems small. Anytime I see them, they seem quick with Micah. Micah's great, but across the board, they just seem small. I think they're going to have a hard time this Sunday night. But
it's going to be a good game. It's going to be fun to watch because Allen is on fire.
God, there's so much good football coming up this week.
Yep.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think the Ravens O-line, although they were already struggling, and now they're missing their center, or potentially going to be missing their center for an extended period of time. So I think that could hurt them.
I wasn't here last week, and I heard you talk about it, right? But I think one of the big issues was they were rotating literally, and what that was doing was if you saw a certain guy come on the field, you knew they were throwing the ball.
Yeah,
it was obvious. And when the other, I'm watching the game, going, okay, they're running the ball. You could see the movement. Who was on the field? It's too obvious. If we can see it, obviously these freaking pro coordinators could see what's coming, right?
Yeah.
So that is so like elementary to me. I couldn't believe that Harbaugh would allow that because they weren't mixing it
like
up,
a Harbaugh
right?
thing to do.
They're putting a guy on the field that was clearly the pass blocking guy, right? And then they want to run. All of a sudden, they bring this other guy in, and it's like they weren't passing with the other guy to show any deception at all. So they've got some issues, but they've also got Lamar, and so that kind of makes up for a little bit. And Cincinnati doesn't look like Cincinnati, and in their division, it's Pittsburgh right now, and I know I picked them to go, but how much do we truly believe in Pittsburgh for the long haul, right? Can they actually can they win 11, 12 games? I don't know. So I think Lamar and him have a chance to kind of get healthy and get back into it because Cincinnati does not look good at all.
So my thing about Cincy is we keep wanting to talk about Burrow this, Burrow that. I know he doesn't look like his arm is there yet. I know it's going to take him some time to get back, but the dude is still 7th in passing yards, tied 5th in touchdown passes. He's got a 70% completion rating. I don't think it's Burrow. I think that defense is just so damn bad that Burrow's having to do everything. The run game isn't there right now. So it's all on Burrow. And we talked about it, Anthony, when your defense just lets them go downfield score, you're praying to God your offense can keep up, but that's not how the NFL is. If you have the best defense in the NFL, like Baltimore usually did and does, is the reason why they win games. Baltimore they threw for under 200 yards, but rushed for over almost 275. So they literally just ran the shit out of the ball and let their defense eat. And Dak Prescott was like 26 for 51. He threw the ball a shitload. They didn't let them run the ball, so they were one-dimensional. I think Cincinnati's defense is the problem with Cincinnati. If they don't figure it out, Cincinnati might be looking at like a 5-win season.
Well, yeah, they play the Ravens next week. So Cincinnati's got Carolina, which should be, I mean, this is going to be a perfect segue. Should be a pretty easy win for them this week, you would assume. And then
Heard that one before.
Yeah, tell me if you've heard this one before. And then they play Baltimore, so it's some pretty critical time. This game is critical for the Ravens.
They've got to win it to get back in to get back into it.
I just don't like how they almost let Dallas back into it. I don't like. I think the Bills' defense is running very fast, and Von Miller's playing with his hair on fire. Like, I just think that team's playing rejuvenated, and I just don't know if anybody remembers that was my Super Bowl pick. All your other Super Bowl picks suck so far.
I do remember that. How we're going to segue to your AFC West champion.
It's all good, baby.
So let's tackle this now, man.
Let's get it done, man, because I know that you really want to
Brad
talk about it.
absolutely hates it, so we'll talk about the good old Raiders.
This is just one of the agenda items that we have to discuss.
It's weekly.
It's weekly. The weekly Raiders segment, and we have to kind of watch the ebb and flow of Anthony's roller coaster ride.
My emotions. I will tell you, it's so damn disappointing, and I can't even put my finger on it. It was, I was at the game. It was the best home field advantage that I've ever seen the Raiders have since they've gone to Vegas, because everyone complains. A lot of the local fans complain, and I mean, it sucks even for myself. Like, when you go and there's a ton of away fans, but if you're a team going to an away game, what game would you rather go to? Going to Las Vegas, right? Like, you can't. It is what it is. It's a great stadium. It's a great place to watch a football game. But it was the best home field advantage I've seen probably since they played Baltimore. The very first game they had fans after COVID. They played Monday Night Football. And I have nothing to say. Like, they just absolutely shit the bed. Max Crosby was hobbled. I don't know if a lot of people have seen that there were times where he would take first and second down off and then come back on for the third down pass rush. And there was also times, and I love Max, there was times where one time it was 3rd and 15. I'll never forget it. It was 3rd and 15. And instead of rushing the passer in an obvious pass rushing setting, he was jumping and trying to swat the ball down, didn't even rush the passer. So his ankle was obviously prohibiting him. And I think that defense goes as he goes. But I think it's pretty obvious we have some offensive line problems, and I think it's pretty obvious, like I said from the get-go, we need a quarterback. I think quarterback and offensive lines are our biggest issue. They can't run the ball. But I do, just like we said, with all these other teams, it's still early. And if they come back and they beat the Browns this week, go to Denver, beat them the week after, then they got the Rams, who's up in the air. Like, there's very winnable games in front of us. And if we're sitting here in mid-October.
That sounds like my boy right there. That sounds like Anthony.
That's right.
There we go. Now we're back.
You know,
look, it just happened right there in the middle of that segment.
We're back.
We have witnessed this for years. Like, he was a minute ago, he looked upset. I can't wait to watch this back. And all of a sudden, he's like, you know what? After we win those next 3, man, and we go to Denver.
Everything's right in front of us, boys.
It's all right.
Everything we want's right in front of us. Everything we want's right in front of us, man. And this is what I'm interested in. I want to see how they bounce back, because I went into this game and I told multiple people, and people can attest to this. It would be such a Raider thing to do, to go win in Baltimore, come home opener, crowds juiced, and shit the bed. Such a Raider thing to do. Well, let's see how they bounce back. Because in years past, they would just unravel for a few weeks, like lose 3 or 4, then maybe they win a few in a row. Let's see how they bounce back, and we'll see what the makeup of this team really is after getting their ass whooped. So we'll see. That's all I got to say about them. AFC West still right there to be had. Don't laugh, motherfucker. Don't laugh.
Hey, before we get into picks, I don't know how close we're to picks, but we never hit on Rodgers. I would just tell you that Rodgers looked he was firing the ball, man. I mean, he might be back. The Jets might be something to watch here. Obviously, I pay close attention to them. Their defense is always good. But man, some of the throws he was throwing the other night, God, it is so fun to watch him throw the ball. And I
A lot
missed
of
watching
zip on the
him.
ball.
I missed watching him throw the ball last year. So it's just fun. Much as I hate
Yeah.
the fact that he's on the Jets, I'm just happy to have him back in the NFL. It's fun.
Yeah, he looked really good, man. And Garrett Wilson's a stud. Brees Hall's a stud. Braylon Allen's a stud. They got weapons
Yep.
all over the place. Lazard looks good. He has a lot of zip on the ball. He's always been one of my favorites to watch, and he's socially easy to hate because he talks a lot and talks about a lot of controversial topics. But boy, he's so much fun to watch play football, and I'm glad he's back too.
Yep.
I just need somebody to throw Devontae Adams the damn ball. It's killing me fantasy to start that guy.
Are you trying to say he's going to be a Jet?
Me?
Yeah, is that what you're trying to
Listen.
say?
Listen, I don't care where he goes. He'll go anywhere as long as he gets a ring. That's what he wants. And it ain't going to be – I don't see him
Yeah.
in Oakland next year, man. I just don't. I don't think he wants to
neither,
start
dude.
over with the rookie quarterback. He doesn't want to do all that. You know,
I definitely don't think he's going to play in Oakland next year. I
he
think
went to
it's,
Oakland for Derek Carr, and then they fucking Derek
Well,
Carr, you know.
I think he might play in Las Vegas next year. I don't think he's going to play in Oakland.
Oh, well, Las Vegas.
Oh,
Sorry.
here we
Oh.
go.
I don't know what's worse for him, Vegas or Oakland, because it still looks the same.
Okay, stop it.
All right, let's get out of here. I
and
think
one more before we
One
go
more?
to the picks. I got one more topic, and I want to know just contender, pretender. We can make it really quick.
Oh, yeah. I want to run through that real quick.
Undefeated teams. The undefeated teams currently now. So we got. Have we double checked our work here? We probably
I did.
should. We
I
know
did.
we're not the
I did. I double checked.
So we
I
got the
double-checked it.
Steelers, the Bills, the Seahawks, the Vikings, and the Chiefs. They're the 5 undefeated teams in there. I'm gonna go through each of them, Brad, and I'm gonna go through. We'll go through all of us. Contender or pretender? Okay. The Steelers, Bradley. I'll let you start with them because you love this.
I would say they're a contender for the playoffs. I think I said in the beginning, I think I had them at 9 or 10 wins, and I think that's about where they're going to end up. I think they're getting to the playoffs.
I'm the same. I just think that somebody found something in Fields. I think we all thought Fields could be good. I think the Steelers defense is too damn good to not be. He just needs to be good enough. Fields just needs to be just good enough to keep his team ahead while his defense does their job. So I think they're contenders.
Well, I do think that Arthur Smith, and they cleaned him up quite a bit. Like, he's not turning the ball over, he's not playing silly. That defense is good enough to keep him in. I think by default, if the Bengals are going to unravel, the Ravens, they probably are a playoff team or contending for the playoff team. But when I say contender, I mean, like, can they go toe to toe with the Chiefs and beat them? I don't see it. I just don't see that. I see them as a Fugazi 3-0. I just don't see it. We'll go to the next Fugazi, or in my opinion, the Seattle Seahawks. Start with Horton there because that is an NFC West foe. What do you think on the Seahawks, man?
Once again, I think it's hard for interdivision for the Niners. It's always a hard game. They've got a hard place to play in. It's a new coach. In my opinion, I think they're a little bit of a pretenders. They haven't really played anybody yet. You know, go look at the teams they've played, and I just don't. It's going to be a long. It's the first 3 weeks. Let's give it some time, but I think they're pretenders.
What do you think, Brad?
Yeah. Niners are still going to win that division.
I agree. I don't see the Seahawks making the play. I caused quite a stir on social media when I put a list out of teams that I thought were going to be looking for quarterbacks next year, and one of them was Seattle. They didn't lock Geno in long term. They actually restructured it to where they can get out for super cheap next year. I just don't see it. I don't see them getting 9, 10, 11 wins. I see them kind of getting to a rough patch of their schedule. I could be wrong, but I think they're pretenders.
Well, look, I think every NFL franchise at a certain point comes to the realization: is this quarterback going to help us win the Super Bowl?
Yep.
At some point, right? Like at some point, and so you have to go young at some point, and it may be that they draft somebody and they groom somebody, but Geno's not that guy. Geno's suffice, but he's not going to win them the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Do
I
any of
think,
us believe that? No.
no, I think this weekend we'll really know because they play Detroit. We'll really know if they're pretenders or contenders because they played the Broncos. They gave 20 points up to Broncos. They won by 6. They won the game 23-20 against the Patriots, and they beat the Dolphins 24-3. But that's a broken Dolphin team. Like now you're gonna
Yeah.
go play Detroit, who's pissed off, who's lost a couple games there. You know what I'm saying? So I really
Yeah.
do see, yeah,
The
pretender.
last one that I think is in pretty severe conversation here is Minnesota. I can see this being split down the middle. I think they can win some games. I mean that division's so good. I did not think I almost said Sam Bradford, but Sam Darnold is. I did not think he was going to be this good. The defense is unbelievable. I think they're actually contenders, and I never would have said this if they didn't beat the hell out of Houston. I would have said pretender, but I think they're the real deal.
I'm gonna agree with you. They're third in points scored in the NFL, and they're first in points allowed. They've only allowed 30 total points in 3 games. That's 10 points a game. That's, once again, we talked about it. If you've got a defense, your quarterback can be mediocre, and you could probably win a lot of games. Sam Darnold went to San Francisco, sat behind Brock Purdy, and learned from Shanahan, who he only gives praises to Shanahan and how much he learned from him in that 1 year. Then he goes to a very good Minnesota team with a very good wide receiver and a great defense, and you're like, hey, go play football and have fun. Sam Darnold's got – it's not a rookie year for him. This is a veteran player coming in and getting an opportunity. We've talked about it. Like, the guy looks like an MVP right now. It's crazy.
If it ended right now, he is an MVP.
Yeah.
Brian Flores has that defense humming, Brad, and you know Brian Flores well from his Miami days. So
For sure.
What do you think?
I think you have to say contender right now. I mean, they beat the 49ers. They beat the Texans. They beat the 49ers when they're beaten up. Man, that division is ridiculous. I still feel like Detroit ends up winning the division, but it's gonna be tough, man. Minnesota, you got 3 playoff teams in that division.
It's another week. It's another week if Jordan Love comes back. If Jordan Love is back, I still think a hurt Jordan Love might be a little rough, but
I mean, right now, when you look at the NFC, right, I think the Niners are still really good. They're 1-2. I still think it's the Niners, the Eagles, and the Lions, but teams like Minnesota have definitely shown something. New Orleans has shown something. I actually like the way Atlanta looked this last week. I think they're getting closer. But I still think those top 2 or 3 teams are the upper echelon. But Minnesota's definitely somebody to throw in that mix now. You know what though? Darnold always starts good though. He always starts good. So will this continue? He always has a great beginning. So we'll see how that goes.
And then the last 2 undefeated teams, I don't think there's much question.
No conversation.
Buffalo and Kansas
they're both
City,
really good.
They're probably the best 2 teams in football right now. Right now, obviously, there's a lot of really good teams, but I don't think there's much conversation about that. So, you want to get into our picks?
Yeah,
sure. Our results.
I will say Bills are the best team in football right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're a wagon, man. They're good.
All right, we're gonna flop on over, change gears a little bit. So I kind of threw them together. So we got week 3 results. Me and Anthony went a solid 500. Brad
sucked ass.
Kind of went upside down, but it's okay. We're not too far off on our pick'em standings here. Anthony's got 24 wins. I've got 22. Brad's got 19. So we're two off each. So it's not the end of the world. 1 week can change everything as we see. And I guess we could just hop right in here and get them started. These should be in order to what the week goes, which starting tomorrow night is going to be the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. Anthony, I'll let you take over because you seem to enjoy this part the best.
I do. This is one of my favorite parts. I love it. So Thursday night football in New Jersey. Cowboys favored by 5.5. I believe the back end of the secondary is all out for the Giants. They're missing Dory Jackson and another one of their starting corners. So I'm gonna go Cowboys minus 5.5. I think they win big. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I got Cowboys. I got Cowboys running hard. They're going to try to run the ball as much as they can, and I think they're going to open the top up. So got Cowboys minus 5.5.
Big night for CD Lamb after last week.
They need to figure it out. They got to show that they're friends again. I got the Cowboys covering.
Yeah, I think after the drama on the sideline, I think it'd be a big week for them to kind of bounce back and show everybody loves each other again. So, and then we go straight to Sunday morning. We have the New Orleans Saints in Atlanta. Atlanta's a 1.5 favorite at home, which I've always known as you're basically an underdog at that point. I think you typically get 3 for being home or 2.5. A lot of injuries in New Orleans right now. I just seen Carr's on the injury list today, which doesn't mean he's not going to play. The dude's tough as nails. There was like 5 or 6 others, including Kamara, who missed practice today. Where do you stand on this one, Tyler?
I actually mistyped it in mine. I had originally put Saints, but I had read that injury report earlier when I was doing this, and I flopped myself to the Falcons. Being at home, I think the Falcons, Kirk Cousins is going to do his cousinly things. So
I have retyped this in this document 4 or 5 times in the last 10 minutes. The Saints have me worried with all the injuries. I just switched this back to the Saints. I think I'm going the Falcons. The number's low enough. I am concerned about the Saints injuries. I think the Saints are a little better. I'm going to go Falcons. I'm typing this thing for the final time.
I'm on New Orleans. I think the defense last week showed that they're for real. I said we talked about this last week. I said last week was a measuring stick game. I think Philly's really good. I think Philly's one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the league, top 2 or 3 teams in the NFC, and they had that game. They had it. It was a little weird. I mean, it was kind of that Dallas Goedert random, tripped up play, got him free in order. Otherwise, New Orleans 3-0. I think that defense can shut down Kirk Cousins, and I like New Orleans to win. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be big, but I like them to go on the road and get a win. Speaking of Philly, on the road, 2.5-point favorites against Brad's Buccaneers.
Brad's Buccaneers.
You picked them. I think you guys might have both picked them. So since they're your Buccaneers, we'll let you lead there, Brad. Baker sucks.
There's so much my team that I have the Eagles to cover the 2.5 on the road.
There you go.
So I don't know what I am not a big Bucs fan, but I guess I maybe have them sneaking in the playoffs, and Anthony remembers this. I don't really know.
I do.
I know I don't have the Raiders sneaking into the playoffs.
You were a Baker Mayfield fan, is what you were.
I don't remember actually. The first time he referenced this, he said both of us were. So I think we need to go back and review the tape.
I think you guys might have both. I think you guys might have both picked the Bucs to beat the Saints and win the division, and I was standing on business about the Saints. So I think that's where I'm on Philly also. I think the Bucs suck. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs.
I don't have nothing to say
Birds.
about Philly. Go Birds.
Go
Birds.
Go Birds. This next one's tough, man. This next one's tough.
Dude, can we get like contingencies here? Like, you got Minnesota's on the road, undefeated, but they're underdogs by 2.5. So the Packers by a field goal is what Vegas is saying currently. I'm gonna go Packers. I don't like it. I'm gonna go Packers, assuming Jordan Love plays. If he doesn't play, I think I like Minnesota. But if I have to put my foot in my mouth now, I say Green Bay minus 2.5.
I got nothing to say other than Packers.
Anthony said what I want to say. I am struggling, but I have the Packers in because they're at home. and at some point, Darnold's going to play like Darnold at some point. I would think. I'm gonna go the Packers to cover the 2.5.
I think Jair Alexander gets the best of that dude this week. That's just my guess.
It's always a fun matchup.
Like always great. This is a wonky one because they played so good last week. Broncos going to New York or New Jersey. 7.5-point underdogs against the Jets.
The number is big, man.
Big. I'll jump on this grenade. I'm going to go Jets. I just think the defense can shut them down, but damn, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Ready?
I'm on the Jets too, but I am struggling with this. Bo Nix looked pretty good last week, but the Jets, man, the way Rodgers looked, I have to run with it.
Going to be Jets, Jets. Definitely see Aaron Rodgers doing Aaron Rodgers things. Him and, it's crazy because him and Garrett Wilson really haven't been on that really lined up yet. I think this is a great week for them to get lined up. And I know the Broncos played great last week. I get it, but
to me, when you talk about Garrett Wilson, I worry about Patrick Surtain.
Patrick Surtain,
so good. But the other side of this, I do think this could be a little bit of a statement game for Nate Hackett, the offensive coordinator in New York. I mean, he was that coach that got laughed at Denver, right? So I think this could be it, but we'll see. Speaking of dumpster fires, when we were talking about Tampa Bay and your favorite team, Brad. Jacksonville's rolling into your hometown, your city. Houston, 7-point underdogs. Houston's coming off a big loss against Minnesota. Jacksonville is on life support. What do you think, Tyler?
Even if they have life support available for Jacksonville, I think Houston needs to. This is like a Houston reset game. They got absolutely embarrassed last week, and I think they're going to come out. D'Amico Ryans is going to reinstate how good that team is, and I see it being a lot higher than 7 in my opinion.
So the Jags typically play them pretty tough. I think they actually came here last year and beat Houston. But this is a different Houston team, and I think they're looking their wins from last week. I think they win by double digits.
Yeah, I agree. I also on Houston. I just don't think we have anything that we can hang our hat on for Jacksonville. Like, there's nothing good going on there. I mean,
nope.
I don't see Trevor. They talked about benching Trevor. They left that open. The coach wasn't even, committed to Trevor and not making a quarterback change when you're paying this guy over $55 million. And there's nothing good going on in Jacksonville right now. I think Doug Peterson is potentially the first coach fired this year. I'd be surprised he makes it to Halloween. So I'm going to take Houston because I'm definitely not going to take Jacksonville.
I'm gonna counter you on that. I think if they get blown out this week and lose the following week, I guarantee you he gets fired at a 5-5 start.
That owner came out and said this is the most talented team Jacksonville Jaguar team ever assembled, and they expect to win. And they just look awful. So I mean, they have good weapons, they have a good running back, they have decent defense, and they looked outmatched and overcoached. So this next one.
I hate this.
Holy shit.
Hate this one.
Steelers on the road in Indianapolis. Steelers 1.5 favorite, which means they probably are favored by more like 3. They probably view them more like a 3 and 3.5. Brad, I'm gonna let you go first on this one. Buddy.
I think they are gonna give Richardson trouble. I got the Steelers covering the 1.5. Man, I know Tyler's a Richardson fan. And actually, we did a fantasy trade. So, and I know the value he has in him. He's got a long ways to go from what it appears, man. And Tomlin just does things to the quarterbacks, man, it's just something else. I feel like they're going to go on the road, and until they're beaten, I'm not going against it when it's only 1.5. I'm riding with it.
Anthony, take
Tyler,
it.
go. I gotta.
Oh, you want me to get it? Okay.
Oh, dude.
Um,
Oh
That's
no,
fine.
no.
That's
Go
fine.
with what you got on this screen right here. Don't change on me now.
I'm not changing. No,
Oh,
no,
no,
I'm,
no. I don't.
No, I'm talking to
I might
Anthony.
change.
This is
I
a
might
get back
change.
game for me. This is a get
I'm
back
not
game here,
committal.
Horton. I need this
I'm-
game back from him.
I am
Oh, and when I type in that document, it's non-committal. That is my thoughts as throughout the day.
I'm Colts.
Oh man.
I do not disagree. Anthony Richardson has a long ways to go. He had a short rookie season, so this is almost like a still extended rookie season. I think that last week, I just like the guy, man. I don't know. The kid can run. Yeah, they got J.J. Watt. That defense is good, but a quarterback that can move. I told you guys that. Like, this guy can move the pocket. He can do different things. He can run. I just need this kid to just hold steady. I just don't think the Steelers have a powerful enough offense to push themselves ahead of them. And as long as they can keep this game close, it gives Richardson a chance to do some things with his legs.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with the Colts. I just the dude is inaccurate. He's inaccurate. I think he's gonna have to make things happen with his legs. He hasn't ran the ball a ton. I think the most he's ran the ball for is 56 yards in week 1. Like, I think he's gonna have to make something happen with the legs. I'm not a believer that Pittsburgh can keep this up. I'm not a believer in Justin Fields. They just, beat Chicago, who has a pretty good defense. So I'm going to stick with the Colts, but I don't feel good about it at all.
What's crazy is we're judging Richardson right now, but he faced Houston, Green Bay, and Chicago, which are all three, in my opinion, easily in the top 15 range of defense-wise. They've got very talented players. So it's not like he's playing, Carolina Panthers team or the Patriots. He's played good defenses and had to read a lot of defensive schemes and changes and he's getting confused. He's throwing picks. He's 50%. I don't even think he hasn't thrown over 50% yet. So this might be a game where they settle down, let him do dump passes, screens, get him going, get short 5-yard throws. He don't need to. He tries to hammer that deep ball, man. He wants that deep ball because he's got a freaking arm. But get this guy a chance to get used to the league and get the short completions, get the confidence up. Anthony Richardson, baby, I love
next
this
one.
Go ahead, sorry.
This next one's weird, man. This next one's goofy. Rams on the road after beating the Niners, 3-point dogs to Caleb Williams and the Bears in Chicago. I'm gonna jump on this grenade. I think this is Caleb Williams coming out party. He threw for 360 yards last week. The Rams give up a shitload through the air. I think this is his 300-yard, 3-touchdown coming out party. I think the Rams. I think the Rams are gonna have struggle on defense. I think the Bears defense is playing better than the 49ers right now. Not saying they're a better defense.
No, I agree. 100% agree.
So I'm going to take the Bears -3.
Same. I don't got anything. You said everything I said. You said everything I was going to say.
I had the Rams in there. The 3.
Oh, it's the get back game. This is the get back game.
I have the Bears in there right now. The 3 is kind of scary.
Yeah.
The Rams always seem to do this though. They play well. I think they're going on the road and just throw a shit burger up. I'm gonna take the Bears to cover the 3.
Shit burger.
Yeah, they're gonna do what the Rams do. The Rams are that team, man. Like
they are.
They're just weird. So yeah, they're gonna go on the road. They're gonna struggle.
This isn't the 49ers. They don't know these guys that well.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you guys.
This is a harder test for them. I know that's weird to say because the Niners are a top 3 or 4 team in the league, but this is a harder test for them because they don't know. Like Sean McVay and Shanahan know each other so well. This is different. So I think this is Caleb Williams coming out party.
Yep. Oh, man.
All right. That's a good one. On to the next.
On to the next one. This one's pretty easy, I think, for everybody since we literally called the Panthers the biggest trash can fire in the league. They're worse than, in my opinion, they're playing worse than the Giants.
If Cincinnati doesn't cover this, I'm never picking them again.
I second.
Or
I
is
second
this
that.
Or is this the Red Rifle revenge game? I go Cincinnati.
I'm on Cincy as well.
I'm gonna ride with Cincy.
It has to be, right? Like sometimes I try not to outthink the room here. I try not to put too much thought into it. Like Cincy looked really good. Carolina should not have looked that good. They just happened to run into the fucking Raiders. But like, yeah, just try not to outthink the room. Cincinnati's supposed to be a contender. This is the week. If it's gonna happen, it has to happen now. Cincy 4.5. Yeah, should be no problem.
Yeah. Joe Burrow throws for 300, and Jamar Chase has over 160 yards receiving.
Yeah, I think Jamar Chase has 10 catches, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I love this matchup.
Dude, I can't. This one has me tripping, but I think I've settled on it. Commanders going into Arizona, 3.5-point favorites are Arizona. I'm on Arizona. I'm riding that wave until I think they're really good. I think they're going to make the playoffs this year. I'm on them.
I'll let Brad sit here think, and I'll gloat about how good I think Jaden Daniels is, and how Arizona hasn't played Jaden Daniels yet. And yes, Arizona has played tough, but they also got Kyler Murray. I really think that this Washington team is a lot better than people really want to give them credit for. I think the Cardinals have a chance to keep this close and they win by a field goal, but that's why I'm taking the Commanders. So I still do think Washington can come out with a win on this game.
I'm struggling. Okay, so Eckler's out, right? That's what I saw
Eckler's
today.
out. Yes, out.
Eckler's out, and I think that's what kind of has me. I was leaning Commanders.
Still got Robinson back there, baby.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna go Cardinals at home. The number kind of scares me. I feel like it could actually be a 1-2 point game, but I'm gonna run with Kyler and Harrison. They've been looking really good. I'm gonna go Cardinals to cover 3.5.
The New England Patriots go into Levi Stadium and play Tyler's 49ers. 10 points, dude. Can they cover the 10?
I got them covering.
I think this is Sarkisian needs to wake up and get this defense going now, today. Like this is way past due. I think Brock Purdy goes out, has another wonderful day, and I think Jordan Mason rushes for a lot of yards.
I don't know about rushing for that many yards. I think the Patriots defense is pretty good. I just don't think the Patriots can score many points. I said it last week when I think we bet the Jets and we did the under or something like that, right, Brad? And I said I don't think the Patriots score more than 7 to 10 points. Like I'd be shocked if they scored a touchdown. I really would.
I know nothing about the betting you're discussing, sir.
Well, yeah, whatever. Piss off.
Jelly beans.
I just think it's the Niners. I don't think the Patriots score. I think the Niners probably win like 31-10. I think that's what they probably end up with. So this is another goofy one, man. Kansas City's going into SoFi, 8.5-point favorites over the Chargers. Herbert's in big time question. They're missing both of their starting tackles. I don't know. Kansas City minus 8.5.
What do you think, Corton?
It's a big number. Yeah, and I know the Chargers have got injuries, and there's a lot of talk. I just don't see it that high. I don't. I think the Chargers come out. It's Jim Harbaugh. Like he finds ways, man. He's a good coach. The Chiefs have looked good, but they haven't looked amazing. If you know what I mean, they haven't looked like
they haven't looked that good.
Yeah, they don't look like they're gonna go out and just blow teams out of the fucking water. All their games have been close. Yeah, they play good teams, but all their games have been close. I think the biggest score they won by is 7. And that was against Baltimore. But
Yeah.
you know, the Bengals game was 1 point. The Falcons came in and did what they did. Like the Falcons were beat up. I see the Chargers. They may not win the game, but I don't see them losing by more than 8.5. I'm taking Chargers.
I'm if Herbert plays, I like the Chargers, but for just the sake of what I know right now, they came out today and said that Herbert said that they discussed potentially shutting him down till after the bye week. And he said that's probably not what we're going to do. So, like, I think that ankle injury is pretty serious. And even if he does play, you're missing both tackles. Spagnuolo is a great defensive coordinator. I think the Chiefs will probably win this game like 24-14. I'll take KC to cover the 8.5. But if Herbert plays and his injury isn't as bad, I could see him winning this damn game. But I'm going to go KC.
Can we revisit this Sunday morning and, record like a 3-minute little? This is ridiculous. I don't want to pick this right now because of everything we've discussed right now. So this doesn't feel good. The spread tells me they don't think Herbert's playing. There's no way it would be that big on the road, right?
If Herbert plays, I'd be willing to bet you it goes down to 6.5. That's just my
on a neutral field. That's an 11-point spread right now. So
yeah,
that to me tells me I have to pick the Chiefs, as much as I don't want to. And then as soon as I say that, Herbert's all of a sudden going to be healthy. That number is going to drop, and the number we're playing on here is not fun.
Let's put an asterisk next to this and fire.
I'm going to put Chiefs. I'm going to put the Chiefs because of what we're doing and when we're going with it. I'm going to put the Chiefs. And I'm struggling to say that. That number is big.
I agree. So now,
Tyler,
obviously,
who's the backup? Who's the backup quarterback over there?
I think it's
Ethan Stick or something.
No, it's Taylor Heineke.
No, it's Easton Stick.
It's Ethan Stick. He's the backup.
Easton Stick is the number 2 on the roster right now.
Yeah.
No, you're lying.
I'm looking at it right now.
I'm telling you.
On their website.
But what I'm telling you is last week when he got knocked out of the game, it was Heineke that came in. I'm 99% sure.
Interesting, because I remember hearing that they would use Stick, but it doesn't matter. If they're using either one of them, Chiefs come in and handle.
Yeah, so Taylor Heineke went 2 for 2 for 24 yards.
Yeah, that means they're playing Ethan Stick. No, I'm kidding.
All right, America's Game of the Week. You got Cleveland. America's Game of the Week. Cleveland rolling into Vegas. Vegas are what, 1-point favorites.
Before we talk about the game, Deshaun in Vegas, that could be fun for Deshaun.
He may not
There's a lot of massage parlors.
I got the Raiders. I got the Raiders to cover. I'm gonna hope that Deshaun's out doing his work and
doing his work.
And the Raiders are not faders this week.
No. The culture's gonna. I mean, this is all about the culture. If they can bounce back, I think this is a fork in the road game. This is a fork in the road game. I think they go 1-3. You got to seriously start looking at what are you going to do? Are you preparing for next year? Is Devontae going to be a Raider? I think you go 1-3 and all those questions start hitting. I think they win this week. Everything settles down. Everything's still right in front of us. But I think you lose back-to-back home games. I think it's all bad, and we start picturing Shedeur Sanders in silver and black. You know what I mean?
Cleveland sucks. They squeezed by Jacksonville. They lost to the Giants. They got spanked on by the Cowboys. If the Raiders don't win this week, I'm not talking about the Raiders for the rest of the year.
Bullshit. Okay, you're on the Raiders.
I got Raiders.
Now, legitimately, the game of the week, in my opinion, Bills on the road. This doesn't make sense to me. On the road, I think this makes it more of a pick'em game, in my opinion, the 2.5. God, Ravens are favored at home against the Buffalo Bills. Basically a field goal favorite. I'm on Bills.
I'm on Bills, man. I don't know. Allen is playing out of his damn mind right now.
I'm on the
Brad.
Bills.
Brad's good. Oh.
I'm on the Bills. Until we see Lamar and him look that way for a couple of weeks, and the way the Buffalo's playing. And if they were playing anybody else on the schedule other than the Bills right now, I think I'd have them winning this game. But Buffalo just looks good, so we'll see.
So, doubleheader Monday night, just when you think the Browns and Raiders.
Let's go.
You don't think it can get any worse than the Browns at the Raiders? You got the Titans going to Miami.
I'm gonna get to watch this game too, fellas. Something to look forward to.
Oh hell, it's a pick 'em. There's no favor. It's dead even.
Yeah.
So I think this.
It's a pick 'em, all right.
You can go first, Brad.
Yeah, it's a pick 'em. I'm obviously gonna go the Dolphins. I mean, they both suck. I'm a Dolphins fan. I'm gonna say that Will Levis sucks enough to throw us a few pick sixes, and our defense maybe wakes up. It's gonna be an ugly game. What are we looking? Maybe like 13-9 or something, right? I don't know. Like it's gonna be an ugly game. It's an under game. Maybe Huntley plays and is the difference. The Titans suck. The Dolphins suck right now, but I got to go the Dolphins. I'm a Dolphins fan. They're at home. It is what it is for me.
Gordon.
Titans, baby. I can't pick the Dolphins.
Hell.
Can't pick the Dolphins
So
until they
I
get a
was
quarterback.
hoping both of you picked the Dolphins so that I could just slide in and pick the Dolphins. And this is a no, like as far as standings go, there's no bullshit here.
The bad
I'm
thing
gonna
for
go with my
Brad.
gut.
Good.
Good.
I was gonna say the only thing I was gonna get. The bad thing for Brad is he said it's gonna be like a 13-19 game. Well, fortunately for the Titans, they haven't scored under 13 points. Their lowest is 14. So I think it'll be 13-19 Tennessee.
He said 13-9.
No, that's what I said. It's going to be 13.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Tennessee. I'm gonna go Tennessee. I'm changing. I'm gonna go Tennessee.
Oh, good. Hell yeah.
There's your flip game.
That's another flip game. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's
you
go,
need all
Snoop.
help you can get, brother.
Let's go, Snoop. Let's go,
You need all the help you can get. So here we go. Here's the pretender game of the week.
Wait till we get to the jelly beans.
Seattle. Oh, I know. Here we go.
Okay,
Seattle's going into Detroit. 3.5-point underdogs. Lions are going to steamroll these dudes.
Yeah.
Lions got their new black jerseys with their blue helmets. Do you guys see these things?
It's bad as hell.
Look unbelievable. They're winning Lions by 50, dude.
Oh,
Lions by 50.
Oh my Lord. The big numbers there.
No chance. They're gonna unravel the Seahawks from the first quarter. It's gonna be over.
Yeah, I'm same. I'm going Lions.
they're probably my favorite team to watch at home. I love their crowd. I just love the energy. They're gonna look. I'm gonna struggle to watch their game though. At the same time, on the other channel, you got the Titans and the Dolphins. Yeah, right. We're all watching the Seahawks and Lions. We know who we're watching Monday night.
I will be split screening on YouTube TV just because.
Until halftime when the Titans are throttling the Dolphins, and then we go.
No, that's not going to happen.
They
got Will Levis at quarterback. There's no throttle.
Well, good luck to you guys' picks, and I hope all the ones you pick differently than me lose.
Yeah, agreed. Well, guys, thanks again for joining us. It's always fun. We were a little long on this one on our beginning conversations about how bad the Raiders are good or whatever the Raiders are. I don't know. Besides,
it's our first time together in 3 weeks, so I'm sure.
Yeah, I know.
That's why.
I know. I will say the picture of Brad, perfect resemblance of what Miami did last week. The MJ cry was tits.
Pretty electrifying.
But,
pretty electrifying, if you ask me.
Once again, I'm here with my guy Anthony over here and Brad over here. Thanks for jumping in, guys. Hit the like, subscribe, follow, come tag along. We're a bunch of dumbasses, but hey, we make fun of it, right?
Thanks, guys.
We're out.
See ya.
Thank you for watching.
Later.
We appreciate each and every one of you, and we hope you join us again. If you could, please give us a like, subscribe, or follow at any of these social medias right here. And if you have any questions or concerns or something you want to discuss, please send us an email at tiltedpodcast24@gmail.com. Thanks, and have a great day.